Hey there, welcome to our kitchen. I'm Jenny, one of Festival's Mealtime Mentors, and today we are baking up a lemon blueberry cream cheese pull-apart bread. I love this because it's super simple and really fun to make. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the bread dough. We are using a loaf of frozen white bread dough. You can just find it in the freezer department, and I've thawed it overnight. So it's nice and puffy now. I'm going to go ahead and place this onto my lightly floured surface here. And what I'm going to attempt to do is roll it out into a 12 by 12 square. I can tell you I've made this twice so far and I haven't been able to get it into a perfect square yet. Your main goal is to just get it into a shape that you can cut into 16 roughly even pieces. As you can see, mine's turning out to be more like a rectangle right now, but that is a-okay. I'll be able to cut it and it will taste and look great still. So now that my bread is rolled out, I'm going to go ahead and work on the filling. So the filling is super simple. We're just using some reduced fat cream cheese. And to that, I'm going to add the zest of 1 lemon. So we aren't using any lemon juice because it would make the filling too runny. But the lemon zest adds a lot of great bright flavors to it without any extra moisture. And if you like an extra punch of lemon, you can certainly add in more, but we think 1 is a good start. All right. And to this, I'm just going to add a little bit of nutmeg. Give that a stir all together. So the cream cheese is at room temperature so that it's easier to spread onto our bread dough. If you use cream cheese that's straight from the fridge, it will be a little bit too hard. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this on here. Just spread it into a thin layer and cover as much of the bread dough as possible because we want every single piece to have the cream cheese filling in it. I love this recipe because it is so simple and the whole family can help out. So if you have kids in your home, they can help mix the cream cheese filling, they can help spread it or roll out the bread dough. It's really a lot of fun. Get every last bit out onto the dough here. All right, so the next step is to sprinkle our sugar and sliced almonds. I have 3 tablespoons of each in our bowls here. I'm going to use 2/3 of it right now, so just 2 tablespoons. I'll give it a sprinkle over. We'll be saving the rest of it for the topping. If you aren't a fan of nuts, you can feel free to leave the almonds out, but we like the crunch that you get from these almonds. And next we have our blueberries. So a great summer fruit with lots of flavor. I'm going to go ahead and get about a cup, so again, 2/3 of this onto here. We're gonna save that last half cup for the topping as well. And as I'm putting it on, I'm just gently pressing it in so that they don't roll. But if they do roll off, no biggie, just tap them back in place. And again, I wanna get to the corners so that every piece of bread has a little bit of blueberry. Now, the next step is to get it cut into 16 pieces. So I'm going to be using a pizza cutter today. You can use a knife if that's easier. And since mine is in the shape of a rectangle, I'm just going to cut this in half lengthwise and then cut it into 8 pieces this way. So it's definitely kind of tricky to cut it with a pizza cutter, and the blueberries, they will probably roll off. That's not a big deal. Like I said before, just tap it back on if it does roll off. All right, so once that's cut, I'm going to go ahead now and start stacking. So we're doing stacks of 4 to start. If you come across any pieces that don't have blueberries, just grab a few and tap them on there. So stacks of 4 mean that the stacks won't be too high and start tipping over on you. So get these going. All right, so I got these in stacks of 3 to 4. I'm going to take them now and arrange them in my pan. I just have a loaf pan that I've lightly greased with a little bit of cooking spray, And I'm going to place them upright in my container. And now to finish off this part, we're going to add the rest of our sugar. So that was that last tablespoon of sugar. And then the last tablespoon of our sliced almonds, again for that crunch. And the last half cup of blueberries. So once all of that is in there, I'm just going to lightly press it to get everything kind of stuck in there. So at this point, we're going to loosely cover it with some plastic wrap and then set it aside to rise in a warm place. We want it to rise by about 50% in size. So depending on how warm it is in your kitchen, it could take like a half hour to an hour. So we'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, so the bread has risen a little bit and we're going to go ahead and put it into the oven now. The oven has been preheated to 350 and we're going to let it bake for about 40 to 45 minutes or until the top is golden brown and the bread is cooked all the way through. And we actually have one that's already baked and cooled. So you would usually want to let this cool about 15 minutes in the pan, and then you can run a knife along the outside of it to loosen everything up. And then turn it out onto your serving platter. And as you can see, the layers just pull apart and you've got blueberries and almonds all throughout, and it's absolutely delicious. So we hope you give this blueberry bread a try, and for more recipes and resources from your Mealtime Mentors, visit festfoods.com.